Hi guys, thanks for tuning in back to this channel. Angela here, and in this video today I'm gonna be telling you a few things that you need to know if you are planning to come to Qatar with your kids. Myself, I'm a mother, and my kid is back at home with my mom. Obviously I would love it so much to have her around here with me, but there are a few restrictions that would not allow me to do that. So many people keep asking me, like, why don't you bring your daughter to Qatar and live here with her? So these are the things that you need to know in case you're planning to move to Qatar, or you're thinking about coming to Qatar and you are like, okay, what will happen to my kids? Point number one is that you have to be married, like legally married, with a marriage certificate that can be attested by your embassy for you to be able to sponsor your kids or your family to Qatar. So if you do not have that, then obviously that's just not going to happen, because this is a Muslim country and they do not have advocate for having children outside of marriage. So you cannot. You have to legalize your marriage, get a marriage certificate for you to even consider having your kid here. And that said, also you are not allowed to be pregnant here if you are not married. And if the authorities, if you happen to go to the hospital and they find out that you are pregnant, then you have to produce a marriage certificate. And if you do not have a marriage certificate and you happen to be pregnant, then you are going to get into trouble with the law. And in the case of pregnancy, then I think you will be detained until the time that you deliver your baby, and then you will be deported. And if also they find out that maybe per adventure you found out that you're pregnant and you got rid of the child, if you go to the hospital and they noticed that you might have committed an abortion, you will be deported immediately. So that was just a disclaimer. Point number two is that having a marriage certificate is not enough. You have to be earning a certain amount of salary for you to be able to sponsor your family, either your wife or your kids, to Qatar. And that is at least 8,000 Qatari riyals if you are living in a company provided accommodation. But if you are paying for your own accommodation, then you have to be earning at least 10,000 Qatari riyals. 8,000 Qatari riyals translates to something close to 2,200 US dollars, and 10,000 Qatari riyals is something close to 2,700 US dollars per month for you to be able to for your family members to be granted residency here in Qatar. So even if you have a marriage certificate and you have a husband, but you do not meet that level of, you do not earn that much, then also you are not in a position to sponsor your children to come to Qatar. And I think they put into consideration the cost of living. Thinking if you are earning anything less than that, with the cost of schooling and the cost of food, the cost of living, you'll not be able to comfortably sustain your family around here. The other point, which is point number three, is the cost of childcare, which can be quite high, which I assume is the same as other countries, like other Western countries. You are going to part with something like 2,000 riyals per month to pay for daycare. That is if both you and your husband are working. So it's either maybe one of you can stay at home and take care of the kids, but if both of you are working, then you need to either take your children to daycare or to have like a nanny taking care of your children. So yeah, the cost of daycare from a colleague that used to take her child to daycare, and that was 5 days a week, Sunday to Thursday, she used to pay 2,000 riyals, which is let's say 54,000 Kenya shillings, or it translates to how much? $540, which is quite high considering the fact that we, like back in Kenya, pay, oh my god, way much less. You can't even compare. So yeah, and if not, then you can opt to have a nanny, and most people would prefer to get nannies from Kenya because they don't cost as much as hiring a Filipina nanny that you get locally here, because most nannies from Kenya will earn something close to 1,000 riyals at least. The least that you will expect to pay a nanny, whether from whichever country, then it will be 1,000 riyals, which is like 27,000 Kenya shillings or 270 US dollars, which is a lot of money, considering the fact that in Kenya we pay way much less. You know how much like nannies get paid back in Kenya. And if it is like hiring a Filipina lady, which most people, maybe especially the locals who are making so much money, would prefer to hire Filipinas, then the least they could be paid with 2,000 Qatari riyals, which again translates to something like 54,000 Kenya shillings. So those people who are not comfortable leaving their children in daycare, then they have to hire a nanny, and that is the much that you will expect to pay. Or those who do not like having their children, those who prefer to have their children in a familiar environment at home, then you have to part with at least 1,000 or above for having a nanny or a living nanny at home. Another point is that if you happen, even if you are on a lower salary scale and you happen to bear children here in Qatar, one thing I need to point out is that the cost of delivery is quite cheap. I heard of somebody who paid 1 riyal, which is less than $1, to deliver their kid. So if your child is born here, no matter how much salary you earn, then at least they are allowed to be here or to stay here and even become residents for as long as you continue to be a resident here. You can now, if you have your children here, if you give birth to your children in the country, then you can sponsor them and they can become residents, but they do have to get a passport. And that said, having children in Qatar doesn't give them Qatari citizenship. No, your child will assume the nationality of their father. Even if they are born in this country, they will assume the nationality of their father. You do not get Qatari citizenship by birth. It doesn't happen like that. In fact, it's not even easy to get Qatari citizenship unless one of your parent is a citizen. Then that way you can get Qatari citizenship. So on your child's birth certificate, the nationality will be, of course, their father. If it is from Kenya or if it is from India, then they will be Indians or whatever. And the only thing is that they will indicate the place of birth as Qatar, which could still give the child some privileges over children that are born maybe in the other countries, maybe like in Africa. Because a friend of mine was telling me that it was easier for him to get to get a UK visa just because the son was born in Qatar. So there are some privileges of having your children born here rather than maybe some other parts of the world, like maybe in Africa, where we really have it rough, especially when it comes to applying for visas to go to maybe to visit Europe or European countries. So if your child is born in Qatar, then they have at least that cutting edge, which gives them a higher privilege over kids that are born in other third world countries. So guys, I made this video because it was requested by one of the subscribers, because she was considering to look for a job in Qatar and she just wanted to know like what it entails for her to move here with her little son. And I'm hoping I've at least answered a few of your questions or a few of your concerns. And if there is anything that I have left out, then feel free to put in the comment section down below. Thank you so much guys for watching. Consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't, and if you liked today's content, then please give this video a big thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching again, and do have yourself a lovely week ahead. Bye.